actually seen that movie, Idiocracy. Anybody seen that? What did you think of it?
I think it's going to happen.
It's
I know
gonna
it's going to happen. We're entertainment focused. We want to be sheep. We want the simple life. We don't want to stick out. We love to fit in. And fitting in means knowing what's going on in the world, knowing what's happening entertainment-wise. We don't care about what's happening in politics nowadays in our generation. We just want the here, the now, the fun. We want Doritos.
You're pretty doomed if you think that way, right?
Really?
That's the very
Idiocracy.
very pessimistic view. By the way, did you guys hear that joke about, well, the optimist and the pessimist and the realist were arguing whether the glass is half empty or half full? The opportunist came and drank the water out of the glass. But that's very pessimistic of looking at it. Trish, you had your hand up.
Oh, I was gonna say, I think it more would be like Brave New World or like Fahrenheit or 9/11.
Brand New World.
No,
Which
yeah.
one?
Well, Brave New World is out of this Huxley line where they
Right.
all get like take the pills and they all just want to be happy and
Yeah.
it's kind of intense. But I don't know, that kind of closely mirrors this. Well, how he described the Faye Dunaway.
Yeah.
I forgot her name, but or the character name. But how he described her, the short attention span, like always like wanting to move forward and not think about emotion and all that. Like, just kind of exactly.
Well, yeah, that she was a zombie essentially. She was an android. She was void of any feelings or values. Everything to her was about ratings and the illusion of TV, and that was her reality. That she was dead inside. She was. They use the phrase "dying democracy and dehumanization." That essentially, because she was from this generation that basically was raised in the TV, that she was dehumanized, void of any values or any principles. Right? What did you guys think of that? What did you think of her character? Do you know people like that?
No.
Do you know people like that?
All around.
Especially where we live. Especially where we live in Orange County and LA.
I'm totally desensitized to
Desensitized.
to violence, to sex, to all sorts of crazy stuff. From being a child, going watching R-rated movies, seeing people getting blown up and stuff. Now I think I would, I'm 16 and send me a warrant. I don't think I would freak out if I killed somebody. And
So then you're
it's
saying
because
they
of
want.
television, because you're seeing this on TV all the time, and it looks so real, and our minds are twisted, and that's what's one problem with everybody around here. Everything, and then besides that, everything's all sad and depression. But desensitized, we are desensitized.
But depression is not a bad thing necessarily. You remember the 5-step process?
Depends if
Remember
you
that?
learn from it or you give in to it.
Exactly. Depression, if it's part of your 5-step process, which starts with denial, anger, negotiation, depression, and acceptance. If you're talking about that level of depression, that's not bad because then you're at the 4th level into finally accepting.
I'm talking about Prozac and Lexapro.
Right, we're talking about chemical
Put
imbalance.
them on some kind of medication.
But I'm telling you, people are not like this. We are at the epicenter of illusion. We are at the close proximity to Hollywood. We're at the epicenter of this illusionary way of thinking. You meet people from other parts of the country. I had an opportunity to meet a wonderful friend from Oregon, and the quality of discussions that I had with her was incredible. Very deep, very spiritual, very evolved, very mature. So try not to paint everybody with the same brush. Different parts of the country have different attitudes, have different beliefs, they have different social traits, social norms. Right? Don't lose hope in humanity yet. There's still a lot of hope. It just happens to be that we are located geographically in an area where materialism and illusion of materialism and just pure greed seems to be overwhelming. Right? You're laughing.
Oh, nothing.
Any other feedback from any of the students?
I was thinking wasn't it Beagle?
Yeah.
He was a subject to his own thinking. He was mad because people they weren't free thinkers,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But then it showed the power of the corporation, and Jensen was easily able to influence him to preach his own thing. So Beagle himself was also kind of
Beale, I think his name was.
Beale.
Yeah.
Okay, so Beale was also the subject to that whole free thinking part as well. Just shows that it's inevitable. The media, the nation, corporations, or whatever, that the individual does really have no say. have to take what we get. Is pretty much I think the whole thesis also was about. And I was just kind of acknowledging that a little bit.
But is the world is what it is and we should just deal with it, or should we assume that the world is what we make of it?
But I think the movie was saying that like basically no matter what you do, you know, it depends on your like perception, but no matter what you do, that's how much power they have that they can easily switch him. Even the guy that was trying to preach, you know, the free thinking, even himself was easily persuaded to preach something that was just
After his meeting with Jensen.
after the meeting with Jensen, just with the amount of persuasion
Yeah.
and the technique that Jensen was able to
Fear.
use, you know.
Was
That
it fear?
done.
Was it persuasion? I mean, what
It
made
was
him
fear
change his
because
mind?
he terrorized him.
I mean, whatever tactics he did.
Huh?
Hypnotized, bro.
Yeah, hypnotized and terrorized. Is there a word that was combined with? Yeah, terrorized. Right? Yeah, he was under the hypnosis, right, of the CEO of the CCA. The company was CCA.
Yeah, but like, when Jensen came to the set, he's like, I'm a salesman.
Yeah.
You know, I can sell anything.
Uh-huh.
He thought about how am I gonna appeal to Beal's, you know, personality, or how am I gonna influence him? And that goes to thought, that's critically thinking, and he got that job done with those type of tactics.
And guess what happened after that? The ratings of his show
It went down.
declined rapidly.
But the Jensen doesn't care about that. He just cared about his speech to be done through Beal, right?
That's some interesting feedback. You had your hand up, Eddie.
It's completely different from what he was saying, but I believe in what Jensen was saying is that the media has a natural order of things nowadays. It's just so big and it's such a huge conglomerate
Yeah.
that no matter what we do, it's just going to happen. I mean, as a pessimistic view as it is, he tried to change it. He tried to keep the other guy on the air, and the natural order led them to kill him. And it just brought it back to everybody becoming a sheep and things like that. And I don't think there's any way of changing the media. The media is just going to keep growing and becoming the blob and doing,
You tune out. That's the first thing. You tune out of that paradigm. You tune out of that matrix, and you tune into something else. One person at a time. We can't change this thing overnight. This is something that's taken decades to get into where we are, and it's gonna probably take decades to get out of. So the idea is not to give up. The idea is to learn the art of critical thinking. The idea is to think objectively, to think critically, to think independently, to think creatively, right? That's the difference between you guys and a person who's not taking this class and is just, I don't know, watching Dancing with Stars tonight. I don't want to put people off for watching that show, really. I don't want to insult anyone. But some people may like that show and they're watching this on YouTube and like, why is it keep putting down Dancing with Stars? Sometimes you have to, especially in my line of work, you have to tune out, just for your mind to calm down, because you think about complex issues all the time. So I'm not putting that show per se. I'm talking about the culture, the culture of just pure entertainment and nothing else. You had your hand up, Rebecca.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I completely agree with what he said. This movie was made in the 70s, and it's supposed to be this huge wake-up call to what media does to us.
Yeah.
And you're talking about 50-plus years, and it's only gotten worse. Look at Fox News now. This was supposed to be, look what the media's doing. I would like to not take the pessimistic view of it, but it's a little hard to know that much time has gone by when this was obviously such a huge issue back then, and there's no real progress whatsoever. If anything, the pendulum's only swayed to our disadvantage.
Yeah.
It's depressing.
Yeah. It is depressing, but it's not terminal.
Right.
It's not terminal, and the jury is still out, and it's up to each and every one of us to tune out from the matrix and tune in to what they called in this movie the truth. Right? What did you call it? I wrote it down here. The cleansing moment of clarity. It's very much possible for each and every one of us to have that cleansing moment of clarity, knowing fully well that there's a risk associated with that, and that risk is that you're not going to view anything the same way again. That you're going to become entirely different human beings, and once you do that, unlike what Anthony said, you can't stand violence or exploitation of women and over-sexualizing everything. Once you reach that level, you can't tolerate that. You watch a little bit of violence on TV or in a movie or even on Netflix, and you just tune out. You just change it back rapidly. Any of you have gone to that level where it just takes away the peace and quiet, and you just fast forward and you just walk away? I have. you know, my threshold of violence and over sexualizing things has become so narrow that I don't put up with it. Whereas in the past, I used to just be able to turn the other, you know, just be able to handle it, be able to tolerate it. Now I don't anymore. So I'm very cognizant